Tagazani, Noma here. Welcome to Learning with Noma. And today's topic, we continue on Ukuphahla, and I'm talking about offerings emsamo. So welcome to Learning with Noma. This is your comprehensive online classroom where we are changing our lives one lesson at a time. I'm not only about spirituality, but I do touch on other aspects of life, finance, everything life. We are just trying to change our lives one lesson at a time with whatever topic that has been inspired. Learning with Noma is your home of spiritual learning and healing. I am Noma, and yes, there is a practice that is being run for consultations, for private consultations. Please watch until the end of the video for information on how you can contact me. Okay, so the topic for today, Ukuphahla, it is a topic that I have been covering on the channel. There's 7 parts at the moment, and this is part 8 of the Ukuphahla series. If you are not following, please do remember to hit the subscribe button, leave the notification bell on so that every time I put new content in the classroom, you are notified. If you are not following me on any other social media platforms, on Facebook, on Instagram, I am Learning with Noma, or the classroom is Learning with Noma on all social media platforms. On Twitter, it is at Noma and at Gogo_Noma. If you say hashtag Learning with Noma, you will easily allocate me. So yes, those are the platforms where you can find me. So like I said, there's about 7 parts of Ukuphahla. So if you've got any questions about anything else outside of the topic of today, you can check out the description below. The links to the other videos will be in the description below, or you can just check in the channel. There is a playlist titled Ukuphahla, and you can watch all the parts. So I'm just now doing the parts according to the questions that I'm getting in the comments, either via email, others on TikTok. So I am just following what you guys are asking me, and I'm trying to create lessons based on the questions. The question that has been asked was, Gogo, okay, ngiyaphahla, and you keep mentioning that you can even bring offerings to emsamo, but then what happens to the offerings, or what do I bring as an offering emsamo? So let me start by just giving a brief background of what is emsamo. If you really want to understand, please go to part 1, and I think part 2 also. You will just get the full details there. Here I'm just going to touch a little bit on topics that I know are fully covered on other videos, so that it also makes sense to someone who's only watching this video. Emsamo, you are emsamo wako, you are the family tree. You as umuntu, you are the emsamo, because when we talk about emsamo, we talk about imvelaphi yakho, utswaka, isitso sahao, the family tree, as I say in English, and therefore that is you. You are not separated from your ancestors. You are a product, or you are, sort of like the tree that is still now when the others have fallen. You are from the seed of your ancestors. But in this particular instance, when we talk about emsamo, we are then talking about the physical shrine, which is then also referred to as altars, or your sacred praying space, your sacred, how do I put it? Your sacred space where where you phahla, where you communicate with your ancestors, your sacred space where you pray to whatever you would then call source or divinity, to your Jehovah, to your Nkulunkulu, to your Tito, whatever you call source. That is a place where you then go and talk in private with your source, but also communicate with your ancestors. That is what we would call emsamo wako, your sacred space, your space of communicating to your spiritual guides. So in this instance, it's where I am answering the question of the physical emsamo. What do I bring to that emsamo? What do I do with offerings, and what offerings do I bring emsamo? Firstly, we need to understand there's a video I made on tools of Ukuphahla. There's a difference between the tools that you use to communicate or to sort of like bridge the gap. The tools that you use, I always call them the network finders, to say I'm using MTN today or Vodacom, which tower is closest to me. Those are the tools that you would use for Ukuphahla: your snuff, your water, your impepo, abanye even impupu, like a milli meal. That's what they would use. Maize meal, that's what they would bring. So those are the tools that you use on your daily routine when you come and communicate with your people. But when you do offerings, for me, I see them more as rituals. And I'm going to keep saying for me. Remember that in this classroom, everything that you're learning is all from my own experiences, my own practice, my own ways of doing things in my sacred space. It is in no way the only way or the only correct way. I always say you take what resonates with you, that which does not, you put aside, you don't disregard, you just leave it for the next person. I am sharing from my own experiences and my own practices. Spirituality is your own experience with divinity and source. It is unlike religion, where you are then put in a box of the right way or the wrong way. In spirituality, it's about what resonates with you when you enter into that sacred space and you connect with divinity, source, spiritual guides, whatever that you feel that you're connected to. Your own experience. You are writing your own book of life. You are writing your own Bible with reference to the principles and with reference to abantu that came before you, being your ancestors, being your entourage, even the knowledge that you find in other religions, other cultural practices, everything that resonates with you, that is what you would do then in your spiritual space. So yes, let's just remember that you take what resonates, what doesn't, you will further, search for what will resonate for you. So offerings come as gifts. You are bringing gift into their spaces, and there are different instances where you can bring offerings. One, you can bring an offering because of a dream that you had the previous day, of a spirit that you are missing. Secondly, it can be an intended ritual of offerings that you're doing, and this can be for Thanksgiving. This can be for offerings of ukuthi ngizoshweleza, I am coming to plea for an apology. It can be offerings of appreciation, just to appreciate the presence, the protection that you have brought into my space. But every time you bring offerings, there should be an intention, and a clear intention edit that is attached to the offering being brought into your space. And other offerings can actually be very specific. They can be to a specific ancestor. And let me just talk about that a little bit. When I say that it will depend on whether it's a ritual or it is because of a dream that you had or something that has happened. Say you wake up and you dreamt of your grandmother, she was visiting you, she was happy, but somehow in the dream she said, I am here, I'm visiting you, but I'm so thirsty. Then you wake up in the morning because Gutsu Gogo loved her tea. She loved her rooibos, 1 teaspoon black, no milk. Then you boil the kettle, you pour the rooibos tea bag, you put your 1 teaspoon of sugar, you put the tea emsamo before you even start Ukuphahla or communicating with your ancestors for the day, and you call ugogo to say, Thokoza ntombi enhle, thokoza gogo, thokoza sithando sami, here is your tea and thank you so much. You see, it's a gesture of appreciation to say thank you so much for being with me last night. Sometimes they didn't even say anything, but just because you felt their spirit as you woke up or you dreamt of them, then you bring in that offering to ugogo specifically to say uzophuza nabanye. Don't you know what, be able to share with the others around you. That is one way to bring an offering. And with such offerings, for me, actually, with each and every offering, I always say allow your intuition to guide you about what must I do with the offering. I'm going to share a few things that I do with my offerings after I'm done with them, and maybe you can also share in the comments on what you do with your offerings. So when you bring your offering, emsamo, the tea, you can leave it there for the whole day, and then maybe in the evening, as you have your evening bath, you pour it in your water, because tea is muti. Tea is medicine, so you can pour it in your bath. You can go and pour it in the garden, one of your plants, whatever that resonates with you. That's what you will do with the tea. Sometimes you can even drink it, because you are offering them something that it's medicine for you, so you can drink it, depending on, like I say, what your intuition or what your guides are guiding of you to do with the offering. Then there comes offerings that we bring because we are doing a ritual. Maybe you want to give Thanksgiving, it's at the end of the year, you've just received your bonus, or maybe it's even at the end of the month, you've just received a new job. You know ukuthi it was lakho beltane or abantu amathongo wako, especially those that died in your presence while you were still here, or the stories that you've been hearing. Oh, Gogo loved cakes. Gogo unarata ho baka. She would make the softest scones ever. You go and you buy your scones, you go and you buy your fruits, whatever that resonates with you. But like I always say, in my space, when you bring an offering to somebody, it's like a gift, it's a present. I am one who does not really have a sweet tooth, and even with salt, I'm very particular that I love biltong. I don't even love meat. I love biltong. So as itongo, I think I would probably want my children to start giving biltong as an offering, and that's what I'm already starting to do, because that's what I love, and I'm not only gonna offer them what they love, but also what I love. I always say that if we are kubantu abadala, give them something that you know you would also be able to eat. Should they wake up and say, okay, sit down and eat lanat, be sure that you'll be able to put your hand in there and eat. Give an offering that comes from the heart, that is pure, and that will also resonate with you. Same as you cook for them. Offerings can be that. You can bring your biltong, you can bring your cakes, you can bring your fruits, and you put them around emsamo, sweets, whatever that you know your ancestors loved, or whatever that resonates with you to bring. I've seen people bring ultramel, others bazi ukuthi khona umkhulu ophuzayo, and particularly umkhulu loved black label, so they would put black label there. Others, they know ukuthi umkhulu was very expensive, ubephuzi Johnny Walker, they would come and put Johnny Walker there. Whatever the alcohol, I'm not really good with alcohol names, but yeah, whatever the alcohol that umkhulu loved. Others knew ukuthi ugogo loved particularly Coke, and ugogo bezokutshela ukuthi the Coke in the bottle with the red one, not the white writing, and that's what they would bring emsamo kubogogo. Or they would particularly, hey gogo, you know what, it's now very difficult to find the bottle Coke, but Coke is still there. So me choosing offerings, it is always very intentional and driven. And when you come to bring offerings, you don't just wake up again, especially if you're doing a ritual. Like I said, it's very different if you're just bringing for ugogo, or it's something small because of a dream that you had. But for me, when I'm going to do the offerings, it is an exercise that I prepare for at least 7 days before I do the ritual. So I try to communicate and do the shopping list with them to say, what do I bring in your space right now? This is what I need to do. I involve them in my planning, and not just at the end. I involve them in my planning. Sometimes you'll find even simple, a glass of milk, because bakhona bomanono, you have those who died when they were very young in your ancestral bloodline. You've got those who were miscarried, so they still would love their milk and their cake and their sweets. Sometimes even purity, depending, like I say, on whatever ritual that you're doing or offerings that you are bringing forth to abantu abadala. For me, I always do the shopping list with them. So before I do that offering ritual, 7 days before, I'm already starting with my prayer to say, in 7 days, I would like to go and buy you things so that in the evening of that day, I can bring offerings in your space. Even the particular food that I cook on the day. My grandmother loved wing, and I would always have to go and, buy a chicken, slaughter it, cook it, and then put it in their presence and give it as an offering. And she loved making umqomboti. If there was anything that she would never miss in my maternal grandmother's house, was umqomboti. And ugogo natlatsho fela nkgono a re ke etsetsa hore ho nkge jwala ka mo ntlong. I just need the smell of umqomboti so that abantu abadala can still see that we are here. And she would make it, put it in a big calabash, nkgo e kgolo, abe mole, and she would give us each, just a small amount. Kamo libikereng la ere. Are, this is not alcohol, this is muti. You are not going to drink to get drunk, but I am giving you umuti to heal. And every time I come into that space, I remember those kind of things. And hence, I never bring umqomboti in a bucket or whatever. I bring it in a calabash, because that for me resonates with my grandmother, and I know that's how she taught me. And if your people are okay with you bring it in a bucket, again, it's okay. That is you in your space. So that is how I would then choose the offerings, and that is how I would bring the offerings. When it comes to the candles that you use, again, it is for me, important to involve them in the planning of the ritual, the way you will then be given the different colors. It can either be through dreams, it can either you going to consult with ugogo umkhulu, saying to them that this is what I would love to do for my people, and they give guidance through spirit as they channel abantu abadala, and you can bring the offerings into your space. So the offerings that you bring to emsamo wakho kahle kahle can be anything, as long as it comes from the heart. It can be big, it can be small, as long as it comes from the heart. An offering is a gift, and you cannot choose your own gift. And for me, the rules is that be sure that it's something that your ancestors would approve of. Don't look at Noma and copy and paste what Noma is doing or saying. God, Noma knows her people, and I'm gonna say, and I keep saying Noma because when I go emsamo and I do my things for my people, it's not even about, it's about unoma mtanabo, so you also don't copy and paste what you see the next person doing. You do what resonates with you. Secondly, you give offerings of things that you know you would also appreciate in your space as gifts, and don't come ufe unkhonu because they were the last in your cup. Listen, there's situations where literally you don't have anything, so give them what you have and what you can afford at that moment. I'm not saying go buy a Woolworths cake. I'm just saying that if you know you can afford a ShopRite cake, buy that one and come and offer them. And if you know you can really afford the Woolworths one, why not go buy it for them? Because you're bringing offerings. It's like you're investing in order for them to also bless you in the same way. The happier they are, the happier they will come with their blessings. So when you're done with your offerings, for an example, let's say maybe today is not even about a big offering. It's not about fruits. It's not about alcohol. I just cooked. I just made a meal and I put it in front of them. I usually have about, I'll say, 3 options. One for me, if I've cooked or anything that I'm giving as an offering for them. One, I am going to keep some. And as I've got, people coming in, I've got a lot of people that would pass by the house. Hello, how are you, auntie? I'm hungry. And then those are the fruits or the food that I will share with the people that are passing like that, because sometimes they just come and you don't know where they come from. And then I remember, I've just done an offering and I've got them in a plastic and I give to that person to go and eat. Other times I literally pack the food away the next day or 2 days after, and I would go and give to, I've got, and it will depend on your area also. For me, I've got a guy who sleeps at the robot who stays there, and I would give him the food so that he can enjoy the fruits, he can enjoy all the food that I've cooked, even give him some drink to drink, and that's what I would do. The other thing that I usually do is to take them, and as you go to the malls, you do find people who do not have things to eat that are sitting there, and those are the people that I give the food to. And this is when you're bringing offerings to emsamo, guys, and you're not doing mphabadimu, which is different. That is a ceremony. It's not a ritual. How is mphabadimu or itiega gogo? Obviously, there'll be people in the yard who are going to eat the food. But this is you in your sacred space bringing offerings to your ancestors. So for me, I always give them to those who are less fortunate, and that is how I would then deal with the offerings after I am done with my ritual. I go and I give it to the less fortunate so that they can enjoy and they can eat. And this is if you've got big offerings in your space. But if it's tea, like I say, if it's just a cup of tea, I would then just bath with it, drink it, or allow spirit to direct me on what to do. I hope that this video has shed some light, and I hope that it will be easy for you to bring offerings into your space, to your ancestors, to your shrine, emsamo wako. If there's anything that you do in your space that is different and you would like to share, please do share. This is Learning with Noma, because I am not here to teach you alone, but I am here to learn from you. You are here to learn from me. We are here to learn together in this classroom, and that is Noma and Ukuphahla and offerings. So that is how I do my offerings in my space. If you found the information insightful, if you found it enlightening and also less complicated than the traditional and other ways that we always restricted to do things. Please do leave a like thumb on the video. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel, leave the notification bell on so that you're notified every time new content is loaded on the channel. My name is Noma. This is Learning with Noma, your online comprehensive classroom where we are changing our lives one lesson at a time. Do follow on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Learning with Noma on Twitter at Gognoma, at Gogo_Noma, hashtag Learning with Noma. You will find me. Remember that on Facebook and Instagram, I share a lot of inspirational quotes, closely inspired, and on TikTok, that's where I host all my lives, do a lot of dream interpretation, Q&As, and on TikTok also you will find a lot of videos on dream interpretation. So yes, do not forget, all the links to the social media platforms will be down in the description below. Thank you so much. Be on the lookout for part 9 of Ukuphahla, where I'll be talking about cleaning emsamo. When, why, how, who? That is another question that has been popping up. How do I clean emsamo wam? So yeah, boy, thank you so much for being here. Tagazani. Until next time.